missing from this waterfall? What's missing? The koi or
They
missing?
can't hear you. You have
Can't
to
hear me?
put it closer to your mouth.
So one of the issues is they've got a new phone, except that the microphone is not. Does not fit into the new USB-C port on the new phone, so we don't actually have the microphones that we normally use. What? It is on. Everyone's on the phone with me? I mean, right. So we may not be able to do the show today. That's a possibility. We're going to walk back this way. It'll be a little quieter. It is a little loud on the corner. So what's missing on the corner are the koi statues. Unfortunately, what's missing in the corner is unfortunately the koi statues. And I thought that was going to be okay. I was going to walk away.
Now they can't hear you.
Sorry, I turned it off. Back on. I was fidgeting. Hello? I sound like an alien. We're going to go inside. We're going to have a quick conversation. We may not be able to do the show today, guys. It's a strong possibility that the show is not going to happen today. So, let's go inside and have a quick conversation. Just give me another second. So if I leave this like this, you guys can't hear me, huh? So, okay. All right, I'll go sit down. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so we're in a bit of a quieter place here. So I think today is just going to be a quick discussion because we don't have the proper microphones, unfortunately. And what was that? All right, so I drove around the corner the other day, coming into the store, and the statues were gone. Bonsai Chris, fabricated some awesome stands that we secured to the koi, and you couldn't get them off unless you damaged the koi in the process. So we had these awesome stands, and we put a couple of bags of cement on each of those. So they were a couple of 100 pounds each, and never did I think that someone was going to walk away with them, but they literally walked away with the statues, with the stands, and I don't know. It is what it is. It really sucks. News 12 came down, and we had it on News 12. It ran for a couple of days. I'm not sure if it's still running, but it ran for at least 2 days, and we haven't heard anything about it. It's just a shame that someone would do something like this. we built the waterfall around those statues, and I do have one statue left. If we do put it out, we are going to secure it in a way that it's never coming out. Uh, if anyone has ideas about how we should secure this, uh, besides adding a what do you call it, tag, a what, an air tag to it. Adding an air tag is great, but you know, it it if we have to use it, that doesn't mean that it was stolen. So hopefully, if we do add an air tag, we never have to actually use it. Uh, do they have a battery in them? How does that work? So we have to have access to it. 7 to 10 years. Okay. All right. So we will add an air tag to the next one. So just if you're watching the show and you feel like stealing the next one, there will be an air tag in it, and it'll be in a place that you won't be able to get to it. Maybe we'll fiberglass over the air tag, or we'll drill a hole in it and make it permanently in there, and you can't get it out. I don't know. Can you guys hear me a little bit better now? You can. I don't think we're going to be doing fish today. I just think without the microphones, I think it's going to be really difficult. So let's just have a conversation. I lost 14 pounds. That's pretty cool. Since my AFib surgery, my AFib ablation, I've lost 14 pounds on this factor diet. So that's pretty cool. I'm very excited about that. We launched, what else happened? We launched Koi Pharma, and we have 2 new products under the Koi Pharma label. So we have our Koi Pharma bacterial control koi food, and we have our pure nitro bacterial control, full pond bacterial control. Those both launched. Michael, you want to talk a little bit about those products? Hold on 1 second. We're going to go grab them from the shelf really quickly. And oh, how are you? How's everything? Good. Oh, good to see you. I'm good. I'm good. Yes, I am. We're just doing a show at the moment. No. It's cool. It's of course, absolutely. Please. No. Go. Please. If you want to be on the show, I can put you on. So we have 2 new products, which Michael's going to go bring out, and he's going to talk about them a little bit with you guys. And what else do we have going on? I mean, if you guys can hear me okay, I think we can talk about some products. We can talk about, we talked about winterization last year, and last week, and we talked a little bit about getting your ponds ready for the winter in a couple of different ways. One is just making sure as many leaves as possible are not in your pond. Getting a net on your pond now, guys. Don't wait until winter to put your nets on. Get your net on now, and avoid that additional work and the possibility of those leaves landing in the pond and breaking down, like falling to the bottom and breaking down in the pond. It's always better to preemptively put this stuff on before the leaves start falling. So if you guys can do that, that would be great. If you need netting, we certainly have netting. Let me see. We actually have our new aquascape netting, and then we have our heron netting. I'm gonna go grab it. Give me 1 second. So aquascape just shipped out. It comes in a 14 by 20 and a 28 by 30. 14 by 20 and a 28 by 30. And this is like a medium duty. Have you looked at it, Michael? Let's open one up. So I am going to open the bag. It's an unboxing video, yes. If you guys have any questions or comments, please, always. So you're looking at, it's a 1/2 inch hole. So fairly strong. The stakes are in the bag. Where are the stakes? Oh, there they are. This is the 14 by 20. You can see the stakes that it comes with. See that? And it's a medium duty net, and we have them in stock. If you guys are looking, let me know. They should be on the website now. We also have, can you go grab the stakes and the netting? That netting is far away, so it's kind of hard. You want to grab the netting and pull it all the way over here? Other one. We'll go over there. This is the netting that we use right now with a lot of our customers. This is our heron netting, and we're also using it for winter. So also half-inch hole, super, super strong. Once you stretch this out, it doesn't stretch anymore. So when you stretch this over the pond, and these are the stakes that we use. So we do these every 2 feet. It's got a hook on it. And when you're doing the netting, you can basically shape it around the pond, and then you basically roll it up to the shape of the pond, and then you hook this hook right on there, and knock it in. You do have to be careful though. You need to know where your sprinkler lines are with any spikes. You need to know where your sprinkler lines are. You need to know where your inlet and outlet lines are. You don't want to go through, which we have done. It can happen. You just try and be cautious. I like to use a rubber mallet when hitting these in. If you use a regular hammer, you're going to break these off if you hit it the wrong way. So use a rubber mallet to knock these guys in. They work really well. This netting comes in a 12 and 25 foot width by up to 100 foot length. So we can cut it to size. It's 48 cents a square foot. If you guys need, just let me know. If this does come off the ceiling and falls on someone, we're in a lot of trouble. But also a good choice for netting. Gabe, can you look up the pricing on that aquascape netting for me, those two sizes? So getting netting on your pond early, and hopefully you guys can hear me, getting netting on the pond early is really important. You want to try and keep anything from landing in the pond and breaking down inside the pond. It's never a good idea to have this stuff falling in and breaking down. Hopefully you guys have a skimmer. If you don't have a skimmer, even more important to get a net on the pond. At least a skimmer is your first line of defense, is going to pull debris in so that you can easily access it. But if you don't have a skimmer and you're left to actually just take it out by hand, you got to get that net on there. What else can we talk about? Gabe is going to get me pricing on those two nets for you. And in the meantime, we can talk about aeration again. You guys want to talk about aeration? You got a price? Gabe's got prices for us. So this is the 14 by 20 is how much? $23.98, not a lot of money. The 28 by 30 is how much? $55.98. So we do have these in stock. Let me know if you guys need these. Yes, question. Hey, David.
In the spring, the maple whirly birds go through the holes. So he was asking if you have anything smaller, like full size.
So we've actually moved away from the smaller netting. We do have some DeWitt netting left, which is a smaller hole. On the smaller netting, two things. So one, on the DeWitt netting, it stretches, so you have to put an understructure underneath it. And two, with the smaller hole, when it snows, it will capture that snow and it'll weigh the whole net down. On the bigger hole nets, a lot of the snow will fall through it, which definitely helps. I do understand where you're coming from. We moved away. We used to actually use a 1/8 inch, and that netting works really well for keeping everything out, but it will also capture a lot, and it'll get a lot of weight on it, and it'll pull everything. It can pull everything over with it. We've had some situations where the net was high, weight got on it and actually pulled. It ended up pulling all the stakes out and the whole thing going into the ponds. Okay. Um, yes.
Aaron Stanton is asking, do you have any Kleenex?
So do we have any koi nets? So we have a couple. I don't have a price on it yet. Give me a second. Oh, so the new one. So the new one I don't have yet, and it's the end of the season, so we were not going to be ordering it. Gabe, could you grab the net that's in the corner over there? It's just the head of a net. So Aaron is asking about our pan nets that we're having custom made, and I'm pretty proud of these. He's going to grab it in a sec. Uh, we are having them custom made, but there's a time to order them, and the time is not. Yeah, yeah, bring it on over. The time is not now. It's the end of the season, and for me to put the money in to have these sitting all winter, waiting for next year, it's better for me to order and have them in the spring. So this is our large pan net. Okay, we went deeper with it, which a lot of them are much tighter, and when they're tighter, the fish can actually flop out of it. And this is rubberized. So we went with a rubberized netting, which gets rid of the little tiny holes that are in between each of these holes. So in between each of these holes where the net is sewn together, however they do that process, are little tiny holes. And those little tiny holes can actually get caught. I've seen it get caught on dorsal fin and the anal fin, and they can damage the fish. So this is what we've gone with. I'm pretty excited about these. And the way we're going to do it is we're just going to sell the head of the net. We're not going to sell the pole. And the reason for that is shipping the poles has gotten so expensive that you could literally pay a ridiculous amount of money just to have the pole shipped because of its awkward size. So we can ship this, and then what we did is this is a generic size, so you can go to your local pool store or Home Depot and you can get a pole that will fit right on this, and you can get a telescopic pole from Home Depot or Leslie Pools or whatever pool store is local to you, and it'll fit right on this because this is generic to the size of a pool net, which is pretty cool. That's my special rock. I was saving that rock. Do you know where it went? No. But we'll have this in multiple sizes. I know it's kind of hard to see here. You can see just how deep it is. You can see how deep it is. See that? Thank you, Gabe. We're all good. Another question. Hi, Alan.
Michelson is asking, my pond is around 65 degrees on average now, and I still active.
So Alan is one of our oldest customers. So Alan actually, so we used to be the largest dealer of Sacramento koi. What the heck was the name of the filter? The Advantage bead filter. So we used to be the largest dealer of the Advantage bead filter in the country. And they actually pulled all the dealerships away from everyone, and they decided to just sell it direct. So we stopped selling those filters, and we moved over and we made a custom filter with GC Tech. But Alan actually had bought, I believe, Alan, you bought one of those filters. Am I correct? Yeah. Hold on one second. Hold on, guys. What's up, Howard? Yeah, came in. So he came. I'm good. Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. So Michael is actually going to talk about same stuff now in a container, now has a name. So we actually have a customer in here buying some medicated food. Oh, it's not medicated food. It's a bacterial control koi food. So Michael's going to talk about that in a second. He's just going to write up this customer. And what? It's all good. It's all good. Howard wants to get on camera, so. All right. Just give us 1 second, and then Michael's going to talk about this. We have one on the shelf. Yeah. Can you grab one, Gabe? All right. So, Michael, you want to come around here and talk about them? It'll be easier. So, Michael's going to. You guys know Michael? Michael's just going to jump on and talk about 2 new products that we launched. I don't know if you can hear me, but
Can you guys hear me? Does it look good on the microphone? Very little. What about now? I the one thing I don't do well is speak louder. Alright, good. Alright, so under our it's not going up. Alright, how about now? Alright, great. I'm gonna keep it right here. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. I know you guys missed me already since last week. But our business that we have here, Sean and I, we launched 2 new products that were lacking in the koi keeper community as a physical product that you could buy. And that was a bacterial control food, one that you should use when necessary when you're having ulcerations, redness, redness streaks, fin rot, tail rot, mouth rot, the like. It's something that guys should be using when you see stuff like this. Sometimes, people say to use it prophylactically. Obviously, to prevent resistance, it should always be used when necessary, and it's always made fresh on order. So these things are always packaged up and ready to go when we order them in. So something to use when not working anymore. Are people complaining that it's not loud enough? Oh, you're not seeing it. Okay. So, how about now? Hello? All right, good. So, this bacterial control food comes in a 2 and a 5 pound container. Unfortunately, the 5 pound is not available just because of a shipping supply issue. We've been waiting for bottles to come in, and it's just proving to be a little slow. But the 5 pound is coming in. I know lots of people have been asking. I understand you guys want to get the better deal with the 5 pound container. Totally get that. We are working on getting the 5 pound out very, very soon. Being that we've had such a supply issue with that, we needed to launch the product before the season ended, just because I know people are going to need it now. So the 2 pound right now is what we have in stock. You can buy it off of koimarket.com. If there's any dealers, wholesalers in the trade that are looking to get this to put on your shelves, you can contact me. You can contact me through Facebook at Michael Simoes. I also linked it in the description of the video, or you can email me at sales@proformc.com. That's SALES at Proform. That's PROFORMC.com. Or you can visit the website, proformc.com, sign up to become a dealer. Yes. So Koi Pharma is a Koi Care Kennel wholesale brand. So that's Koi Care Kennel Wholesale is the sister company of Koi Care Kennel. I'm sure many of you guys know who Koi Care Kennel is, Kimberly Allison. We are her sister company here based in New York. We are Koi Care Kennel Wholesale Inc. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out. But so this one is good. If you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know. This is a 50% sinking and 50% floating, which proves to be very effective with ill fish. Lots of these sick fish tend to stay on the bottom, not move, become very lethargic. So if you can help them get food without having to use so much energy to come up to the surface and catch the floating pellet, it works to be very beneficial. So that's that. Now the other product is Koi Pharma's Pure Nitro, which is another whole pond treatment similar to chloramine T, except chloramine T is so harsh that some people don't like to use it because the fish may be too far gone and may be too weak to help it heal. So using the Pure Nitro product will at least help to start fighting off all the pathogenic bacteria that's affecting this fish and hoping that it gets strong enough for its immune system to actually kick back in and help it. So this product is used in many different situations. If you're bringing in new fish, whether it's from a dealer or just a big, shipment of fish, this is always good to help them de-stress, help with ammonia burn, help with any sort of bacterial issue going on. You should also use it when there's a bacterial issue going on. And you can actually use this and the bacterial control food at the same time. They actually work much better in unison. So you could use this prophylactically, but quite honestly, any sort of bacterial medication you should be using when necessary. You're getting into the conversation of, resistance, bacterial resistance. And there's a difference between parasites and the bacteria tend to become more resistant quicker than a parasite would. So if you can prevent yourself from using it so often and, trying to mix up what you use when you're coming down to a bacterial issue will help tremendously in not gaining a resistance. I've seen many people use the same product over and over again, and then at some point it doesn't work anymore. The bacteria become resistant to that, and then you need to get into something stronger, and then it's a whole conversation for another time. But use these stuff when you see an issue. You're seeing ulcerations, you're seeing redness, you're seeing rot on the mouth, the fins, the tail, anything. You can then use this product and then go through your regimen that way. But this is something to keep in your medicine cabinet. The Pure Nitro at least will hold for a few years without it going bad. Being that this is food, you don't want to hold on to this for too long, so always order it or have it on hand within a few months of something going wrong, but it's always better to just order it when necessary. And if you need it expressed, that's a conversation you can have with me or Sean, and we can try to get it expressed out depending on when you call. You have anything to add? No problem. We have 2 questions.
It's really gonna help everyone, so I'm excited to have it out there.
All right, so Gabe has 2 questions for me. Not anymore. It's different wording in the laws that still allow it under certain conditions. So we have to be, it's restricted for certain areas to be used in. So you can't use it in a fish farm. You can't use it for food fish. It has to be all. You can't hear? Can you hear now? All right, so it can only be used on ornamental fish. So nothing that's a fish farm, nothing that's food fish. It has to be away from all of that. It has to be a contained environment. So like a koi pond where it's a contained environment, you're not eating your koi, hopefully not. It's all contained. It has regulations, for this that you can't use it in certain areas. If you're caught using it in any area that's restricted, you, the consumer, will then be fined in your jurisdiction. But as a product as a whole, it's okay as long as you're using it the way it's directed to. So those things are all proprietary to the brand. So the question was, what's the ingredients? I mean, we can tell you the ingredients of the fish food and what it's based on, but the blend of other active ingredients in there that makes this a bacterial control food is all proprietary. It is all fish safe. Koi and goldfish safe. I'm sure it works on other fish, but we only have tested it on koi and goldfish. It doesn't hurt the plants. It doesn't hurt, you know, the ecosystem. Although any sort of medication that you put into the pond will semi-affect your biofilter. It is not an oxidizer like a potassium permanganate or a chloramine T, so it is more gentle not only on the fish but also on your biofilter as well. So on the bacterial food, what? Oh, I know we don't have the other microphone. So Kathy Karate asked, what's the shelf life? So the food is between a 6 and 12-month shelf life. It's all dependent on how you store it. So if you're storing it in a cool, dry place, it's not humid, it's not getting moisture in it, it should last you for at least 6 to 12 months. Yeah, cover is put on tightly. There is a foam sealant inside to help prevent moisture going in. It can be refrigerated. We don't recommend it right off the bat just because you then get into the conversation of gaining moisture in the container. But if you do refrigerate it, it has to always be replaced back into the fridge to keep the moisture level down. Yes, I did. Yeah, this food is all fresh to order, which is why we can't keep it in stock because it always has to be remade. So we're getting in more and more as we go, being that this product is so it's flying off the shelves, basically. What other questions do you guys have? So that has stopped as Koi Market. Kathy Karate is asking if Koi Market is still making medicated food. They have stopped that for sale, and we're just focusing on this instead.
Koi Pharma is a new brand under the Koi Care Kennel Wholesale label.
So we're supporting this product full-fledged. What other questions do you guys have? If you guys have questions, you can always message me or Sean or Axe throughout the show, and we'll happily answer them as they come in. But my Facebook profile is linked in the description. You can also text me. My number is also in the description of the live stream. Feel free to ask questions, and I'll answer them as they come in. But you can also look this up on Koi Market's website to get more details, and if there's something that's not answered on there, feel free to let us know.
If you're looking for it online, go to the search bar and search for Koi Pharma, Pharma. Otherwise, we're working on the website right now. We're having a couple of issues with putting it in a subcategory. But if you do a search for it, it will definitely come up. So just do a search in a search bar on coinmarket.com for Koi Pharma. That's it. All right. Here, come on over here and talk about my. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Check 1, 2. All right. So I know we have this conversation all the time, and I'm sorry for repeating myself, but we talk about aeration all the time. We have a very large aeration section. I'm actually out of two sizes. I'm actually out of 60s and 80s on the Mitos. They've been a bit hard to get lately. But if you want to pan over here, so if you take a look over here, we have this is our Mito line here. This is the Atlantic Typhoon line. This is the Hialeah battery backup. This is the battery backup from Hialeah. Turn that on there. We have diffusers. This is the AquaScape line of aerators. We just got these in. And you can see here, this is the smaller version with Sorry guys, I apologize. We're having an issue with microphones today, so we're using my earpiece, and I guess it's not working as well. Hopefully you guys can hear me. So this is the aquascape line of their aeration systems. These are the separate units, and this is a kit that they sell. This is a 2-outlet kit and a 4-outlet kit. These use 1/8 air hose, and these two here use 3/8 air hose. And so we use a 3/8 weighted line. So this is our weighted line here. I'm using a little tiny piece here. It's black, and I say weighted because it drops down to the bottom. It's not going to float like a small 1/8 inch hose. As far as diffusers go, we have a couple of brands that we use. We use Aquascapes and we use Metallas. So these are the Metalla disc. This is a 5-inch disc and a 7-inch disc. Okay, it's a rubber membrane diffuser. So there's thousands of perforations on the top here. Air fills this, and this is weighted. It's heavy. So this is going to stay on the bottom. Air will fill this, and it will make lots of tiny bubbles. And contrary to what everyone believes, it's not just when you're putting aeration through the system and it's coming through your diffuser. It's when the bubbles hit the surface and they actually churn the oxygen in, which is what aerates the water. It's very interesting. But let's talk about the benefits of aeration. And I know we've had this conversation many times, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but guys, aeration is literally the most important feature of any pond. If you do not have an aerator in your ponds, stop everything you're doing right now. If you go to the bathroom, stop. Go to the store. If you're food shopping, stop what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, stop and go out and get an aerator. It is the most important feature of your ponds. All right. And why is it the most important feature of your ponds? Okay. It's not that a waterfall doesn't provide aeration. Okay. We consider a waterfall as providing just surface oxygen. An aerator does a lot more than that. So an aerator will provide oxygen for your fish, will provide oxygen for your beneficial bacteria, and that's your nitrifying bacteria, your nitrosomonas and nitrobacter bacteria, as well as your sludge-eating bacteria. That's going to break down the debris in your pond. It creates current and flow. So when I say it creates current and flow, so it'll actually, move the surface of the water, and it'll actually create turbulence at the surface. So you would want, if you have a skimmer on one side of your pond, you want to have your aerator on the other pond. If you put the aerator right in the diffuser in front of your skimmer, it's actually going to create surface turbulence and block debris from getting to your skimmer. So you want to keep it opposite. So you're going to keep it under the waterfall to the right or to the left or both. That's up to you. But you don't want to put it right in front of it. It destratifies the pond. And what that means is it takes the low oxygen water from the bottom of the pond and it mixes it with the higher oxygen water at the top of the pond. So very, very important. And in the wintertime, what happens in your pond is leaves, debris, fish waste, anything that's in your pond that can break down. It could be a dead fish. If your pond freezes over, those gases will get trapped underneath the ice. They'll poison and kill your fish. So what the aerator does is it will keep a hole in the ice and it'll degas the pond. So what we do between the winter and the regular season, in a regular season, we'll keep the aerator at the bottom of the pond. In the wintertime, we'll just pull up on that hose, put it about a foot below surface level. Okay, instead of leaving it at the bottom, put it about a foot below surface level. Okay, and the reason why you do that is you're not sending that cold air that you're pulling from above ground down to the bottom and super cooling the whole ponds. You're just keeping it just below the surface so it keeps a hole in the ice and degases the ponds. You guys have any questions about this?
Yeah, Jim Whipple asked, is there any
Hey, Jim.
required on the Mito or the diffuser?
What was the question? Any maintenance? So there's a little bit of maintenance on everything. There is an air filter that can be cleaned on the Mito. So yes, you can open that up and you can clean that out. Sorry? Or change. Yes, you can order a new one. But generally it's a piece of foam. You just have to keep it clean. It's not a bad idea to open up the system once a season and clean it out. Any other questions? The one other thing that I was mentioning before, so when I say we've had crazy rain, we've had some of the worst rain in the last week that I can remember, really. yesterday it rained. It was, if you guys saw the flooding that they had in New York City, I mean, the subways got filled with water, basement apartments all over the city filled with water. Huh? LaGuardia Airport closed down. I mean, it was crazy, and we're not talking about just it was flooding like I can't remember ever seeing before. So, and it all happened very quickly. The rain came, fairly quickly, and it just, in looking outside my house, I think we had the water went up to almost the middle of I'm going to say the hubcap. I don't know if people still have hubcaps. I don't know. Uh, the middle of the rim of the tire, and as quick as it came, like it all went. As soon as it stopped raining, like the water just disappeared. So it came down way faster than the sewers could actually handle the water. It was pretty interesting to watch. I mean, I literally had sheer descent waterfalls coming off the roof of my house. It was insane. Um, so during that time, we've actually had multiple customers call saying that they lost power. And this can happen. We've all lost power in our homes. And you know what? Your pond is connected to your home. So if you don't have a generator that's going to automatically click on, you need to have something that's going to help you. This is the Hialeah battery backup aerator. See that? This is not plugged in. I don't know if you can hear it. It's on right now. Okay, so this aerator is so it's a dial, so I can dial up or dial down the amount of air. So this can go from, like, I think about 8 hours to 24 hours. It can run depending on how high you have the aerator set. Now, something like this is going to be a lifesaver if you happen to have an outage. So as soon as the power goes out, this will just stay on. You're going to use this as your regular aerator, and it'll just stay on. So really good to have. We do have a few of these left in stock. How many do we have? 2? 1? We have a few of them left. Getting any more may be difficult. This may be the last of them for quite some time. The distributor that we were getting them from is not sure they're going to be able to get them anymore. So if you want, I have a few left. Questions? Yeah, I mean, I know that there are issues with colder weather and batteries, but it's a good question to ask. I don't have an answer for you. Michael, any thoughts on that? Yeah, it depends on how. Michael said it depends on how cold it gets. It would be a good test, but you know, I guess batteries do last less, or are they harder to charge in colder weather, Michael? It depends on how cold it gets. I don't have an actual answer for you on that one, but it's a good question. Unfortunately, I can't answer that. I guess we can certainly test it out and see. We should definitely plug one in and leave it outside and see how it goes. Any other questions? Oh, I don't even think I heard that question. So Alan, you were asking if your pond is 65 degrees, can you still add fish? And the answer is yes. So we stopped selling fish once the water drops below 60. So at 65, you definitely can still add fish. So so I wouldn't say it's based on a temperature as much. We start doing our winterizations in November, so that's when we raise it. So that's when we have a chance to raise it for our customers. So that's when we do it. But when you winterize your pond, I would just raise your aeration system up. Yeah, guys, I'm not saying it's going to kill your fish if you leave it at the bottom, but your fish are in less stress and less harm's way by moving it up. If we happen to have a cold winter, and you know what, every year everyone says two things. They say it's going to be a warm winter, it's going to be a cold winter. So do we really know? Not really. It's very hard to even the experts can't predict it. You know, I've definitely heard a lot of chatter about it being very cold this winter, but they say that every year. I mean, last year I don't even think we had any. Did we have any snow last year? Maybe one snow that was like an inch and a half. Hey guys, when I grew up here, I'm in New York, so growing up here, I mean, we used to shovel snow every day. And I'm not kidding. We would shovel snow every day, and we would walk across the bay. Very stupidly, we'd walk across the bay with our hockey sticks because we thought the hockey sticks would save us. But you could actually walk across. Good morning, guys. You could walk across the bay, and it wasn't an issue. Um, yeah, it was a very different world. That bay doesn't even freeze anymore, so things are much different. Um, Michael, you want to take over for a second? Okay. Michael's going to take over. I just had someone come in and I just had to chat with him really quickly. Um, you want to talk about green reset filters, Michael? Or you talk about any tool, things like that, and anything else they need for food.
All right, guys. How's the microphone working? I'm speaking now. All right, good. So we're going to talk a little bit, since we're on the winterization topic. We have two questions. I'd rather take questions. Yeah, so Michael makes a good point on anybody who's having heavy rainfall like we are right now um, should be checking their pH for a pH crash. So we're checking two things. We're checking a pH and we're checking our KH. Our KH will regulate our pH. So technically, as long as your KH is where it's supposed to be, your pH will regulate itself normally. What do I mean by where your KH should be? We here at least do our KH at 125 ppm or 7 drops, which is how the test kit actually works. It's a drop-wise test kit where you turn the water from blue to yellow. And we can go over that if you guys need to see how that works. But your KH is very important in keeping your pH in check. And as long as you have your KH at around that 7 drop area, your pH will naturally always be at around an 8.4 if you're getting into specifics. But on a liquid test kit where it's, solid number, it's really at an 8, a pH of 8. And that's perfectly normal. Lots of people tend to freak out a little bit about their pH being higher than a 7. As long as your pH is below a 9 and above a 7 or at a 7, then your fish will be perfectly fine. Yes, another question. Yes, so you're talking about winterizing your pond, Christine. You're asking if you should pull your UV. Every time we winterize a pond, we pull anything that could be broken in the freezing temperatures. So what that means is filters, and that all depends on which filter. Like a bead filter that we have, we won't pull the actual body out of place, but we'll take the peripherals, which is the multi-port and the blower and stuff like that. Pressurized filters, you'll just drain out, really clean it out, so it doesn't, all that bacteria doesn't ferment over the wintertime, so you'll really wash it out and then store it away. If you have a separate UV, like these guys over here, the Evos or the Metalla or whatever you may have, it has a glass quartz sleeve and a glass bulb. So if you, obviously you want to drain it out during the wintertime, but if you leave it outside exposed more to the elements, then you have a higher risk of either glass shattering. So in the wintertime, we will remove all products that are potentially broken or can be broken during the freezing temperatures. So let's say for my pond where I have separate UVs and a bead filter, the multi-port comes off, the blower comes off, pump gets put away, the UV gets put away and drained out. Whatever you think can be actually moved and put away in a sheltered enclosure will be much better. Any other questions? If it's not there, Sean, we may have some downstairs. All right, so food. I always love talking about food, but this one's not for me. So food-wise, we generally use one of two brands. So we have our premium line, our Sake Ikari line, which is their cool season is multi-season, which you can use all year round, up until it gets below 50, of course. And Blackwater is cool season, which is again a multi-season. You can actually use this all year round, but they advertise this for the fall and spring use. That's just their wording, but if you're looking for a food that's basically a staple food or a food that you can use all year round, but you won't get, massive growth or, you're just basically keeping the fish sustained and fed, these two products are what you're looking for. For this fall season, this is what you want to be switching to when the water gets around 60 degrees. That's when you'll start seeing the fish eat a lot less, come up to the surface less. And what you're trying to do is prevent them from having undigested food in their track. As the weather gets colder, they're not able to digest higher protein-based foods. And these koi don't have a stomach, so they're really relying on the digestive tract to take out all the nutrients that they need. So having a food that's much easier. Wow, I can't speak English today. Much more easily digestible by their tract is what you're trying to do. And lots of people may not have to feed very often. It all depends on how long your winter period or your cool weather period lasts. Here, it's variable. I've had seasons where I've had to buy multiple bags of food before the winter even came, and there's seasons where I've only bought one bag and it lasted me until the springtime and I didn't have to buy any more. So it's all variable based on where you live, how the temperature is reacting this time of year, and all that. So sake right now they only come in a 4.4 pound multi-season. They do sell a 33 pound, but not many people need that much food. But it is available. And then the Blackwater comes in a 5 pound, a 12.8, and a 40 pound bag of food. So if you guys are looking for multi-season food or cool season food, it is available on the website. You now are a little bit more informed if you didn't know before on why there is a different formulation of food. It's just to help the fish winter over better, not have any undigested food in their track, have something that's more easily digestible for them. You guys have any questions about that or anything that we've talked about already? No? Okay. Guys, if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about or anything that we haven't talked about, please ask. Being that we're not going to be doing any fish today due to the noise issue, we're really going to rely on Q&A. So ask any questions you might want to get answers for, and hopefully we can provide them to you. Gabe has a question he wants to ask. All right, so Gabe asks a very great question. But before we get to Gabe's question, so for the winter time, you're really going to see more of a parasitic issue. There are issues with bacteria now, this year now in that Aromonas alley where it's still warm enough for them to react. But prophylactically, if anything, you're going to be using Proform C and Prazipon Plus. Those two in conjunction will be well enough to last you through the winter time and do as a prophylactic treatment. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a broad spectrum, and the Prazipon Plus is geared towards parasites such as gill flukes, body flukes, etc. So doing that as a prophylactic is what you should be doing every spring and fall to get them up to speed. Now I'm going to go to Gabe's question, which is, we can ask Sean and see what he wants to do. Gabe's question was, if I have a green reset, how do I winterize it? Which is a great question. So we're going to come over here and let's do this way. So to winterize something like this, you have to take it apart. You have to basically empty it out of water, clean out the pads, and get it nice and clean so that, one, it doesn't ferment over the winter time, and two, you won't freeze out in the elements. So what you're going to do is you're going to disconnect your in and your out, and if you have a permanent connection on your waistline, you're going to want to remove that too. And then you're going to use this band, undo it, and then I'm going to put this down. So then you're going to do exactly what I did and open this up. What you're doing is you're exposing all the internals to the filter. So what you're going to do then is clean out these pads really well. Don't be afraid to start squishing them and getting rid of all the waste. Make sure that your O-ring, which is located right here still, sometimes when you open it, it does come out and fall into the filter. Make sure you replace that back in its channel right here. Clean this out really well. Make sure it's empty of as much water as you can get it. And then you're going to basically put everything back together. So this one, there's only one way to put it on because it has to fit, the UV has to fit in its dedicated space between the filters. Put it back together. Hold on. I'll put you guys. Obviously, that's a very tight fit, which shows that it can handle a good amount of pressure. But very simple to do. It's just time consuming to do it when it's actually in use throughout the entire season. Those pads won't look that nice. They're going to be very clogged with stuff. But if you're maintaining it like you're supposed to on a weekly to bi-weekly basis, it will be much easier to clean when it comes to the winter time. So cleaning out the filter, putting it away, draining it out, doing a small water change even in the winter time before you put the stuff away is all beneficial to keeping the pond cleaner until you actually reopen it back in the spring, which is, for some of us, between 4 to 6 months. Alive. So Gabe's question is, what if you don't wash out the pads? Is it going to keep the bacteria alive? And the answer to that is no, because you're draining it out, so there's no water in there, and the bacteria is all going to freeze and die. So if anything, you're going to have a very stinky mess to deal with in the spring instead of doing it the way that I explained to you just recently. So you want to wash it out. There will still be biofilm on it, which is I think is where Gabe was trying to go with this question. There is biofilm, so every year the filter will process through the nitrogen cycle faster. Same with the bead filter. It has biofilm growing on it, so every year it's like wine. It matures. The more it matures, the better it tastes. Same thing with this stuff. The more it matures, the faster it will cycle through and get right up and running with no, massive ammonia and nitrite spike. You will always have it, but it will depend on the speed that you get through it. Any other questions? Or if Gabe wants to ask the question. You're going to have a filter that's going to be cracked in the spring. Well, if you're leaving the filter in a warm place running, not running, it's going to be stagnant. So it's going to be anaerobic bacteria, not the stuff that you want. Yeah. Good questions, though. I know lots of people have probably had that on their mind. But you might as well protect the investment that you put to filter out your pond and just put it away and wash it out than trying to hold on to the bacteria that may or may not survive either way. Yeah, I know. I'm very bad at that. I'm sorry. Sure. We're already here. So for a bead filter, it's a little bit more. Got it? Okay, so Kathy's question is bead filter winterization, which Kathy, you have bought one of our bead filters. So I'm going to show you how to do it. If Tony needs to contact me, you let me know as well. But I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Again, we're going to do another water change on the pond between 20 and 40%, doing your regular functionality here. When you're ready to winterize this, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the multiport. I'll just do it on this one. You're going to remove the multiport by undoing the top and bottom union. One thing I will say, when you're doing this, wear something that you're okay to get wet in, because the moment that this or either one of these unions come off, you're going to have at least 100 gallons of water coming back at you. So just be prepared. Generally, what we'll do in the field is we'll open them up just before they let go. So we'll open the bottom one all the way and then move the multiport over like this to let go of all the water. Stand clear. You will get wet. Once that's done, we're going to remove the multiport completely. Once the water is drained, you're going to remove the multiport completely, like so. Put that away. I'm just going to put it on the floor for now. Now your filter is all exposed. What you're going to do next is you're going to come over to where your sludge drain is. And then on every size filter, it's different. This one is on the side, which makes it very easy to show you guys. There are 3 ways to unscrew this. You only want to do it the way I'm going to show you now. You want to only remove, which this is Sorry. It's a little. I'm a little weak this morning. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put you guys down. I'm gonna show you first. All right. So you're gonna only take off this portion. You're gonna remove it, and you're gonna store this away. We usually store this in the pump basket. That way, everything stays where it's supposed to. What we'll also do, I don't know if you can see that. There's a rubber O-ring right here, which is maybe that's why it was so on tight because there's silicone on it. We tend to always remove the O-rings too. Being in the wintertime, these O-rings will contract. They'll sometimes fall right out. So it's better for you to just store it with the cap away in your pump so that it winterizes over. But you only want to take this off. If you happen to remove this one, what's going to happen is that you're going to lose all your media right out. Everything is going to fall right out of it. So don't remove this one. This one stays on there permanently. Only remove this cap and the O-ring and store it away safely, or else you will have to find and buy another one. But this comes off. That stays off during the winter time. And then what you're going to do is we have another piece that hooks up onto the blower, a piece of plumbing. And what you're going to do is you're going to hook up the piece of plumbing to this top bulkhead. You're going to hook up the plumbing that's connected to the blower on the top of this top union right here. And what you're going to do is turn the blower on, forcing air through the top. And what that's doing is creating pressure in the tank and basically blowing out all the rest of the water that's still sitting in the tank. That sludge drain won't remove all the water that's in the tank. So forcing it out by having the blower blowing air through and coming out of the bottom will prevent as much water from staying in the tank as possible. And then you store your blower away once you're done with this process. We also use the blower to blow out your bottom drain, skimmer lines, whatever you may do. It's a multifaceted tool that the bead filter comes with. Kathy, since you're the one that I had the question, being that you have a bead filter, is there anything that doesn't make sense or that you want me to go over? You have some other questions? As we wait for Kathy to ask, let's answer some other questions in the meantime. So you ask a very good question, and that's really. So let me repeat the question. Kathy is asking, being that she's in the South. No more. No more. So, Kathy Weekly had asked, being that she's in the South, is it beneficial for her to just leave everything running and cover it? That all depends on how bad your winters get. We here in the Northeast, we only explain it the way we do it because it can get below zero for an extended period of time. Over the years, it hasn't really gone that low, but it has been below freezing for an extended period of time. We've been in the 10s and the 20s for extended periods of time. So leaving something like this running all year round may cause a pipe to break, a leak to form, just stuff that we don't want to deal with, especially in the cold. For you, if it all depends on how cold it gets. If it's, if you get a cold spell that's like a couple of days long, may not be the end of the world for you, and keeping it covered or blanketed over or whatever it is that your procedure may be okay and actually work for you. But I can't really speak on it without knowing how your weather patterns really are. I know in certain parts of the South, the weather can be really wonky. It can go totally cold for a couple of weeks and then be as if like it's springtime in the middle of winter. That all depends. So use your temperature and how you realize the winters have been to make your decision. If it's staying relatively warm in the sense that it's not an extended period of freezing or going below the 40-50 range, then you could keep it running. Any other questions? Sure. Shoot. So you mean the body? Yes, you're going to leave the body right where it is. You don't want to take it out. One, you can cover it. Yes, you can cover it. Most people don't. It's fiberglass, so it'll be okay. There's nothing really to worry about with the elements in this particular case. The only thing that you're going to take into shelter is your UV light, your multi-port that we removed from the face of it, your blower, and anything else that you take apart. And then you want to blow out your lines, close your lines, and plug up any orifice that may stay. You don't have to plug up this because it does have the sludge plug or the drain plug down there that's open, but your inlets, like your bottom drain, your skimmer lines that are around your filter area, you want to plug that up. You want to plug it inside the skimmer as well, so there's no excess water feeding it through as well. So Kathy asks, what about the bottom drain line? What we do, Kathy, is, again, with the blower and the piece of plumbing that could fit over the plumbing that you're using, let's say it's 2 or 3 inch, and the little piece of plumbing that we use it's not anything extravagant. You can use a piece of hard pipe and maybe a Fernco or a rubber coupling on top of it. Whether it's a 2 inch, a 2.5, or a 3 inch, you'll just get the right rubber coupling to put on the end of the blower so that it fits and can form somewhat of a seal, and you're blowing it through. So for your bottom drain, you're going to do the same thing. Let's say it's a 2 inch. You're going to put a rubber coupling on the end of the hard pipe that's connected to your blower. Really compress it against the fitting. Blow air through it. You're going to see, how's it going? You're going to see air bubbling through your bottom drain. Once you see enough air blowing through the bottom drain, if you have a valve on it, you're going to quickly close the valve, and then you're going to just put an expandable plug in it so that there's no water in between the valve and the entrance of that hole. Deep cleaning. So Michael asked, is it necessary to deep clean the media? Yes, but it will be a number of years after you've had the bead filter. And it all depends on how, it's depending on bead packed, which, is that all you need, sir? You want to just set it down over there, and I'll just talk. Yeah, face it too. Oh, okay, yeah, sure, that works too. All right, we're gonna do a selfie video for right now until Gabe comes back. That's fine. I'll deal with it. All right. So Michael Adrian had asked about a deep cleaning of the media, and that's only necessary based on bead packed. So if your media in the filter is becoming too compact, it's not really breaking apart as much as it should be anymore, or it's just getting clogged super quickly even though the pond is super clean, then that means that there's excess biofilm making all the media clump together and stay together really tightly. I've seen online, and lots of people have different methods of doing this, but they'll run a course of potassium permanganate through just the bead filter. So they disconnect it from the water from their ponds so that it's just in the bead filter, and they wash the media in potassium permanganate, wash it all out, make sure it runs clean. And basically what you're doing is stripping the biofilm and any sort of beneficial bacteria that's on it. It's good because now you don't have that high compaction, any bead packed anymore, but you are literally restarting as if you have a new filter. So you will have to then deal with your ammonia spikes, your nitrite spikes, taking a lot longer to process through. Hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions, please let me know. Whatever you guys want to do. Do we clean Baki showers like filter boxes? So Tara asks a good question, and it's all based on how you run your Baki shower. So Tara asks, do you clean your Baki showers like you clean filter boxes? And it all depends on how you're running it, what media you have in it, and how clean the water is going through it. So for us, at least in our facility, we use ceramic rods solely for bio purposes. It's not doing any sort of mechanical filtration at all. All it's doing is it's trickling water over these ceramic rods that are very porous and allowing for more beneficial bacteria to grow. It's basically just giving it another area, another place for surface area. I'm sorry, lots of words. More surface area for the beneficial bacteria to grow on. It becomes low maintenance. There's never such thing as a zero maintenance product. The Baki shower is a low maintenance beneficial bacteria filter if you're sending clean water through it. So our water gets first filtered through the bead filter, and then the clean water that comes out of the bead filter gets pushed to the Baki shower. There will always be some sort of maintenance with the Baki shower, and in the case of people with ceramic media, it all depends on how clogged that media gets. And over a number of years, you may have to remove the media or just a section of media and replace it with fresh media so that it's not clogged anymore. But for people who are sending straight pond water without it going through some sort of sieve or a bead filter or a heavy removing filter, then you will need to do more maintenance on the Baki shower. The filter, the ceramic rods, if that's what you're using, will get extremely clogged very quickly. If you're putting filter pads in your Baki shower, then you're definitely going to have to maintain that Baki shower more and more. I've seen people do a mix. Their bottom tiers are ceramic media and their top tiers are filter pads. Definitely works. You just have to then do more maintenance on that Baki shower. Gabe has a question. So that's a great question, Gabe. What would you do about winterizing a Baki shower? And that's all dependent on your area. If it's a plastic Baki shower, you have a number of ways of doing it. Most Baki showers, at least the ones that we've sold, have a union on it. So you can undo the union, blow out that line, and then physically remove the Baki shower away. However, that can prove cumbersome if it's really heavy. You know, especially if you're doing it by yourself or you have no other place to store such a big object away for the wintertime, that could prove to be difficult. So what I would do is still remove the union, blow out that line, cover it, and plug it up, and then formulate a way to cover the Baki shower, whether it be blankets, tarps, maybe you make a special custom-made enclosure. I've seen that done as well, where people can make like a wooden enclosure that they clip all together to prevent it from being exposed to the elements. But the Baki shower should be suitable enough to pass through the wintertime without any negative effects. But you do want to protect it, especially if it's plastic. you don't want it to be directly exposed to the elements. If you can cover it up in some way, shape, or form, it will prolong its life. If it's a stainless steel Baki shower, much less to worry about because there's not that much risk of cracking unless the welding is coming apart. Blow out the lines and cover it would be the simplest way of doing it. Tarp or something that will prevent water from collecting and and the weather conditions being fully exposed to it. But let your imagination go wild. Whatever you can do to better protect it, by all means, go for it. What other questions do you guys have? No other questions? Here, hold this so I can just put the multimeter back. All right, let me go. Hey, Sean, you have anything else for me to talk about? You have anything else for me to talk about? Not really. Yes, it is. So, filter pond? Sure, I could do that. All right, come around that way. So we have one final thing to talk about, and it's going to be about a new product that CJ has been working on for a number of years because lots of people have been wanting a filter for very small ponds. Stuff that's 500 gallons and less. Being that you guys don't have a very big area to play with, and sometimes a green reset 25 may be just too big for the area that you may have, or you just may think it's too big for the amount of water that you have, then something like this comes in handy. And although we're not big proponents on an all-in-one filter where it like sits in the bottom of the pond, sometimes that's the only answer for a small pond like that. And it works. It works really well for very small ponds that are between 100 and change gallons to like 500 gallons, and you get a waterfall effect, water feature effect up here that we'll remove so that we can open this up. One second. So water feature effect is now removed, and we're gonna open up the filter itself to show you guys. Yeah, if you want to. Gabe's just gonna come around to get you guys a closer look. So here's the top, CJ's custom color. We have a filter pad on top, filter pad on the side, zeolite next to the pump, which is right here, and a UV light. So you get a decent sized UV light for a small pond. I believe there's two different sizes of this. One's a 7 watt, one's a 9 watt. Don't quote me on that. I would have to just re-verify. Yeah, I was actually right. The 1500 is a 7 watt and the 2500 is a 9 watt. There is a bigger one of these coming out soon. It's not available at the moment, but there is a bigger one available, but right now it's the 1500 and the 2000. The 1500 is a 7 watt UV and the 2500 is a 9 watt UV. The difference between those two is the pump size. So the 1500 has a 400 gallon pump, 400 gallon an hour pump, and the 2500 has a 660 gallon pump. So it's really beneficial for small ponds. So the 1500 should be used for a pond that's 100 to 2 to 300 gallons, and the 2500 should be around the 250, 300 to 5 to 600 gallons. You really want to overdo the filtration on a small pond like that because it could get, the levels may not be the best all the time. So you want to make sure that there's enough turnover, enough flow, and enough filtration for everything that's going on. So you would want to clean the pads out probably once every 2 weeks at minimum. It all depends on how stocked it is, which small ponds like that should not be very stocked, and how much sludge and debris actually builds up in those small ponds. Everything's very nice, very tight, very nicely laid out. Works really well. We actually have one of these guys running on one of the goldfish systems, and it's proving to be a really big game changer even in that kind of system, which the goldfish system is a sump-based system. All gravity fed down into the sump, goes through filter socks, filter pads, media. Having this guy in conjunction with that makes the system work a lot better and keeps it a lot cleaner. So something to think about even if you have a sump system or a small pond. Very easy to maintain, very easy to use. Obviously for a sump system you're not using the water feature, you'll probably just recirculate it back into the sump or connect it into the upflow of the pump that's in the sump. But very easy to do, very easy to maintain, and it's a good solution for very, very small ponds. We're not big proponents of this, but it gets to a point where people can't see themselves spending, multiple $100s on a filter pump setup for a very small, not fully stocked pond. So something like this is reasonably priced and very well utilized for those kind of ponds. If you're looking for one of these, the 1500 is $200 and the 2500 is $230. So very inexpensive, very little price difference in between the two different sizes currently available. Gabe has some questions. Your questions. Okay. Hi, Cassandra. Of course. Come right down. We're open until 6 o'clock today. You should be able to find us, but our address is 539 Deer Park Avenue, Dix Hills, New York, 11746. Come down, come take a look at what we have here in person, and ask any questions. You may not have a pond, but you can always ask questions and just, make this store as if like you have a pond. So come on down. Okay, so the pump sizes again for the 1500 filter pond, it was a 400 gallon per hour pump, and the 2500 version has a 660 gallon hour per pump. The zeolite rocks are just for bio. Obviously the filter pads are for mechanical. Obviously they do bio as well, but their main purpose is mechanical, and the zeolite is solely mechanical, solely biological. they're pretty much similar. The bio balls, all they are surface area for bacteria to grow on. The zeolite does have some like ammonia removing factors to it as well, but again, it's just surface area for the bacteria to grow on. It's just they can fit more zeolite in a tight space than bio balls, and it's easier then to clean. Bio balls tend to be loose, so if you have a bunch of bio balls in a container and you happen to drop this, the bio balls are everywhere. Any other questions about the Siche filter pond? It is available on the website. If you guys are looking for something like this, feel free to order it on the website. If there seems to be a problem ordering it, just contact us and we'll help you guys out. But very cool. If you're looking for the water features, there's 3 different versions. This is a spray, like a shower effect. It does extend. There's a shower, there's a bounty. Let me get the box. Let's see if it has it. Is it on that side? Oh, there it is. All right, so let's go right here. So we have the bell, so the waterfall bell. I don't know how clear that is, but it's like a smooth cascade of water. You have the shower, which we just saw right here. You have one that's called a foam jet, which I don't know if it comes in it because it says optional. Maybe there is. Yeah, I guess that is an area. But it's basically just a jet of water. You have the iris, which is a smoother jet of water, and then you have another. It's not a bell. They call it a water lily. So I guess it's a version of the bell, and I guess the iris, because the bell, the water lily has a smooth cascade up and then a shower effect down. So you have a couple of different options, more options than other brands out there, and it proves to be very effective in a very small pond. So as you see right here, like I had said, your padding is mechanical filtration, your zeolite is biological filtration. That's really the purpose of the zeolite there. I'm sure they could have used bio balls, but I think for this tight of a space that they're working with, the zeolite proved to be better. Any other questions? All right, if there's no other questions, I think we're going to cut it for today. I really appreciate all of you guys. How many people are on? 11 people. I appreciate you guys staying on. I'm sure there was more beforehand before I asked the question, but anybody who was on for whatever amount of time, we appreciate you guys still sticking around and listening to what we have to say. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about today, feel free to reach out to either Sean or I. We're always here to help. We may not answer right away, so please be patient. We're always busy doing something. Gabe can attest to that for both of us. Sometimes we have no time for ourselves, so we will get to you. It may just take a little time. If you're looking to get your fish shipped out, please contact me. I am shipping a bunch next week, so please keep in touch, and we will get all your fish out. All right, guys. You guys have a great weekend. For those who are being affected by the rain, stay dry, stay safe. We'll catch you guys next week, hopefully with a microphone that actually works, and we'll be able to sell some fish. Until then, have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys soon.